Добрий день, я вітаю.
Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody who joins us in Ukraine Media Center Ukrinform. My name is Olga Atamanova. It's been 10 years of the war and today is day 671 of the full-scale invasion of our homeland by Russian aggressor, and now we will be talking about the operations of our air defense forces. Joining us online is Yuriy, Ignat, spokesperson of the Air Forces Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Good afternoon, Mr. Yuriy. Good afternoon, Mr. Yuriy. So I would like to start our conversation obviously with the good news that we've got within the last day. Of course, I'm talking about the detonation of Novocharkassk Russian battleship. Can you give us a couple of details about this? What is its condition? Is it subject to any type of repair? Well, who needs those Shaheds now? No one is curious about the destruction of 13 out of 19 Shaheds, and even regardless of the fact that those 6 were not damaged, not all of them reached their targets. Well, unfortunately, some targets were damaged, which was reported by the Operational Command South, but the top event of this morning was the destruction of yet another Russian battleship that will be added to the troops headed by the flagman Moscow that was drowned even earlier. So this is the result of today's morning. You're asking whether it can be repaired. Well, now we already have the pictures emerging online, so it's almost burned to none and there is only a skeleton left of it. And hopefully there was not only a battleship but also some port infrastructures, some supply ships that were destroyed. Well, and probably not probably, but for sure the crew of the ship that was destroyed. Yeah, it's quite an intense event. We've destroyed both the battleship and the occupiers thanks to the well-coordinated actions. The commander of the Air Force thanked everybody who was preparing the operation and who was performing it directly. The Air Force and other branches and our pilots using the cruise missiles, they finished that battleship so that you can see the good result. Well, Mr. Yuriy, so generally how do you estimate or how do you assess the condition of Russian air defense forces, specifically in the temporarily occupied Crimea? Well, it's a frequently asked question. You know, the Russians can ask, where is our air defense? The Russians and the Crimeans, those who still feel well in Crimea and those who feel at home there and don't want to leave. So where is their home air defense? Unfortunately, it's not gone anywhere. You've definitely seen the cool footage of triumphant destruction of the battleship, including and also the destruction of air defense complex Triumph. Unfortunately, the air defense capabilities are still present in Crimea, all types of them, short, medium and long range air defense. But again, this special operation conducted by our security and defense forces, it was not the first one. You know, there was the first one with the Moscow flagship and then the submarine and other battleships. So all those operations are being calculated with account of all capabilities of the enemy, including their air defense capabilities, and only then the decision is taken about the place and time of the strike. And respectively, we use some tactical tricks exercised by our pilots to make sure that the maximum amount of cruise missiles reaches their targets. Mr. Yuriy, yet another event that was present in the media space, and it was mentioned even by the president of Ukraine, the downing of 5 fixed-wing aircraft of the armed forces. So what do you connect this great job with? Did we learned to shut them down better, or Russians are just trying to gauge our weak spots, risking their lives of their pilots and their material? Well, we're not talking about the weak links here. The striking teams of Su-34 fixed-wing aircraft, they inflict strikes using the guided aviation bombs. They were not looking for the weak spots, but rather they inflict strikes on the forward edge of the battle area. Sometimes they get a little bit too bold and come too close, just like it happened in Odessa with a Su-24M. That was yet another aircraft that you didn't mention. It's the 6th aircraft. It was downed in Odessa region. The enemy didn't learn from that mistake. They didn't learn from the Bryansk story. They didn't draw their conclusions. The command of Russian Federation is ruthless, and they're sending their troops to death. They know that we have capabilities to catch our enemy all over the place. We would like, obviously, the whole region to have the long range capabilities using which we can destroy the enemy. So now, respectively, we've seen after the Heron story near Krinky, where the guided aviation bomb strikes were inflicted, mostly the enemy sees such attacks, and now the Russian pilots will think twice or even thrice whether it's worth coming this close, or maybe they can drop that bomb somewhere earlier so that no one finds out. This is a psychological factor. Everybody wants to live, right? And respectively, Russian command, they're now facing the choice. Ukraine keeps receiving more and more Western air defense capabilities, specifically long-range air defense capabilities, and Ukraine is about to receive F-16 fighters equipped with the long-range missiles. And that will be the end of their advantage in the air, because they will be just simply destroyed, which will make them refuse exercising those tasks that they continue performing now, just like dropping the guided aviation bombs. Well, Mr. Yuriy, we understand that as the time passes, our enemy learns, they learn on their mistakes. So what is your opinion? To what extent Russians learn to counter our cruise missiles that we're using? Well, they don't resist, but they counter them. Obviously, they can destroy them. It's a subsonic target that can be destroyed by air defense capabilities of the enemy. Probably with all of those that they have, starting with even Panzer. Well, just like we shut down their cruise missiles, in the same way they do destroy ours. It's just a matter of success and a matter of experience, just like the experience that we've got within the last 2 years. Well, our air defense units learned to shut down the cruise missiles way before the full-scale invasion in our training grounds. So yes, Ukrainian air defense is powerful, just like the Russian air defense is powerful, but our pilots use sophisticated means that we cannot disclose at the moment. But as you see, the majority of our missiles reaches their targets, just like we were able to witness it during drowning of the Moscow Black Ship, the submarine in the dry dock. We've seen the damage of the headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet with the cruise missiles, and so we keep achieving our goals. There was information in the media that we continue decodifying the Russian air defense complex. And can we say already, is it safe to say that we continue equipping the Russian air defense capabilities with the Western missiles? Well, you're probably talking about the air defense system book equipped with the Sea Sparrow missiles. Yes, it works. We've already tested it, and for the time being the work is underway to decide where they will work, in which spots, in which quantities. We cannot disclose the exact details, but thanks to hybridization of Russian air defense systems with Western missiles, we continue getting the Western types of equipment such as Hawk. It's not mentioned frequently, but it works quite successfully. People keep training in Europe to learn how to work on those types of systems like Hawk to increase their number in our air defense forces. We have, well, currently there is a sufficient number of such systems all over the world. They are decommissioned in many of the armed forces of the world. They are morally and physically obsolete, but as we see, the enemy keeps coming more and more with their air attack means, and such systems fit very well against their aircraft and cruise missiles. But we have to continue intensifying the work of the mobile fire teams, and we have to continue re-equipping ourselves with such air defense means as SAMs, electronic countermeasures, and obviously aviation. The systems that are provided by our partners, by our Western colleagues, and they continue working quite efficiently. Thank you very much, Mr. Yuriy. Well, we seem not to have the questions on the floor, but I cannot help but asking you about the training of our pilots. We know that the first team has already completed the training in Great Britain. Well, this is not a new piece of news, so to say. But again, those pilots that were trained in Great Britain are the very same pilots that continue training in Denmark. So it's not the first team that is being trained in Great Britain. It's the youth who graduated from the Kharkiv Air Force University this year. So this youth will continue training, including the language training and other measures to make sure that they can train to operate F-16 in other countries. Mr. Yuriy, thank you very much for finding time to join us during our broadcast. Dear colleagues, I'm reminding you, joining us was Mr. Yuriy Ignat, the spokesperson of the Air Force Command of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, and we continue working together for our victory. We want to thank our armed forces and security and defense forces for this opportunity to have events like this. Glory to Ukraine.